Now, we did not discuss, we purposely did not discuss this situation right here. Now, it's probably, if you look at the formula sheet that you'll use on quizzes and tests, you will notice on the left side where it says arithmetic. Yeah, notice by looking, there's no infinite formula.
That is
Okay, well, let me ask you this question.
There is one over there.
If I gave you 2 plus 5 plus 8 plus 11 plus 14 plus 17 plus 20 plus 23 plus 26 plus 29 plus 32 plus 35, and I kept doing that forever, what would it all add up to? It's not going to stop. That's why there is no formula for something over here, because the terms keep getting larger and larger. They never stop getting bigger. There can't be a formula for an arithmetic. So you're probably wondering, why in the world you can do that with geometric? Well, the situation that we'll be looking for is this one right here. When will the absolute value of the multiplier be smaller than 1? What will happen if the multiplier has an absolute value that's smaller than 1? Things like 1, 1/3, 1/9, 1/27, 1/81st, 1/243rd. In other words, the terms are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. When they get really tiny, we can add them all up. Now, you may still think, well, Mr. Staley, how in the world are we going to add up an infinite number of values and they'll ever add up to anything? Well, folks, these two words come into play that you need to understand. Converge and diverge. Okay? To converge means it has a sum. Now, when we say it has a sum, we could also use the phrase it approaches a value. That is not how you spell approaches. O-A-C-H. Approaches a value. That sounds like the idea of asymptote, doesn't it? It gets closer and closer and closer to a particular value, but never quite gets there. All right? That's what we mean by converges. It's getting close to a value. Whereas diverges means no sum. No sum at all. If you say that it diverges, then you don't think it ever has a sum. Look at these numbers in question 5.
So the sum for diverging would be like, they just say, it's kind of like saying no solution.
Correct. So let's look at this number 5. What is the multiplier? What are we multiplying to go from 8 to 32 to 128? That is 4, right? So here's my question. Is the absolute value of 4 smaller than 1? Yes or no?
No.
That is a big fat no. So, if it's no, what do you think that means?
It's a diverger.
It diverges. That's right.
Can we call them divergence?
We could if we wanted to watch the movie. No sum.
Wait. Is that why it's called divergent?
I think it's called divergent because they were the ones that did not go along with everybody else.
That series is so good.
Right? They diverged away. Yeah, they were the ones that moved away from what was considered normal.
The norm.
Yes. Okay, now, go back to question 4. What is the multiplier in question 4? That'd be wisdom right there. R equals what? Any term divided by the previous term. Any term divided by the previous term. What do you got?
1/9.
Nice job, 1/9.
And what tie?
So, Here's my question. Is the absolute value of 1/9 less than 1, yes or no?
Oh, sure is.
That's a yes. So if it's a yes, we know that it converges, which means we can use the formula. Now, what was that formula again? Whoa, sorry, I got to the edge. The formula was the sum of the infinite number of terms is the first term over 1 minus r. It's actually easier than the finite formula was. Can I zoom out? Like that? Okay, so let me just quickly show you that formula again on the other formula sheet, and then I'll come back to this. Do you see how the finite one looks more difficult than the infinite one does? The infinite one actually is easier to use, as long as you know when you can and when you can't. So, question 4, we can. So you need your calculator. What is the first term? It's a 1, right? Just by doing this math problem. Wow. Over 1 minus r, r being 1/9. Use your calculator right now and figure that out. If I were you, I would use parentheses around your denominator. Otherwise, you'll get the wrong answer. Okay? Make sure you use parentheses around the denominator as you're practicing this.
Is it a 1.125?
That is true as a decimal. It is 1.125. As a fraction, you probably got 9/8. As a decimal, 1.125. Either one of those would work. Okay? Okay, wow. All right. Tad bit difficult to write that down, depending on what key that was actually in. Oh, okay. Question 6. What's the multiplier? Any term divided by its previous term. Any term divided by the previous term, what do you get for the multiplier for this? -1/11. That's true. So here's the question. Is the absolute value of -1/11 less than 1, yes or no? That's a big fat yes, which means that you are converging, so it's time to use the formula. What's the first term?
1.
A 1. Now, some of you are probably going to ask the question, is the first term always 1? No. Just because 2 examples here have shown you that the first term was 1 in that does not mean that you will get a 1 every single time. You do need the first term, and you need the common 1 minus r, which is -1/11. Use your machine. See if you can come up with the value. Okay, several of you probably got 0.916 repeating.
Yeah, that's the one time that I got.
Yep.
It's quite a fine Monday, isn't it?
Yes. Now, obviously I have told you that I would take 0.92, 0.917. If you're going to round it to a good spot. Show your work. Some of you lost credit on your last quiz because you were unwilling to show me this kind of work. You even got the right answer. Congratulations. It's not that hard to write down what you did. And don't say, I did it on my calculator. Come on. Use the formula. Show me the work, man. Okay. Question 8. How do I know this is infinite?
It says infinite.
It says so, and it says so. It says so a lot, doesn't it?
Actually, it double says so.
Okay. What's the multiplier?
4.
The multiplier is not 4.
3.
It is 3. Now, for those of you who did not know it was 3,
I didn't know it was 3.
you can plug in 1, 2, and 3. If I plug in a 1, what do I get? Come on, plug in a 1. What do you get?
1, you get 1.
1 minus 0, 3 to the 0 power is 1. 1 times 4 is, right, because you said this.
Oh, I did it wrong.
Okay, so you end up with a 4. What do you get when you plug in a 2?
You get a 12.
Sorry, why do I have a 3 there when I should have a 4?
Oh, 12.
Yep, 12. See, that was my fault. So how about that third term? Okay, can you tell me what you're multiplying by? To go from one term to the next to the next?
3.
You are multiplying by 3. So if you cannot look at the formula and tell me that the multiplier is 3, your backup plan will be to plug in 1, 2, and 3 and look at the number, look at those terms. Is the absolute value of 3 smaller than 1? Yes or no? No.
Wait, can you just repeat that phrase?
Is the absolute value of 3 less than 1?
No.
So what are you going to tell me?
It's
divergent.
no sum. It's not real.
There is no sum because it diverges. Thank you very much. Right?
That's all we gotta
Diverges?
do.
For that question, yes.
They figured don't
Hopefully you're writing this stuff down so that you can use it when you're taking your quiz, which is coming to a theater near you very soon.
What day are we speaking of?
I'm going to guess that we'll probably get started tomorrow and probably have to finish it on Wednesday.
Quiz?
Yep. Okay. What is the multiplier R? Stay with me. Okay. What's the multiplier? It is not 0.7. Good try. It is not 1.
It's 0.7.
It is-
Negative 0.7.
Oh, negative 0.7. Yes, that's true. That is a big deal. Is the absolute value of negative 0.7 less than 1? If you think that's a yes, then you better be using the formula because you think it converges. Okay? So I know on the bottom of this is going to be that. How do I find the first term?
Give her a
What do we plug in to find the first term?
1.
Plug in a 1. What is negative 0.7 to the 1 minus 1 power?
1.
That's true. Negative 0.7 to the 0 is 1. Wow.
Yeah, you're welcome, Mr. Staley.
We plugged in a 1. And then we followed our magical order of operations, right? 1 minus 1, 0. And you got negative 0.7 to the 0 power. And that's how we ended up with the first term. Okay? I would suggest that you use parentheses around that and try to find me the value of that. Yes. So if you had 0.588 or 0.59, you know, those would be fantastic answers. There's a lot of calculating going on there. Well. Okay, so you have to decide whether you can use the formula or not. Is it converging or diverging? Protecting your friend. You need to text your friends right now? It's not your laptop, you're texting your friends.
What?
Oh my goodness, it's still on.
No, it stopped charging.
It does not. Gee whiz. Oh my goodness. It is. Yeah, you can get better than that.
Scott, I really thought you were better than that.
Okay, open up your laptops to Math Excel for School. Not texting your friends.
What about math?
Not